Kazuya, why do you think it is that people start their own families? So they don't have to die alone. It occurred to me while I was taking care of your grandmother. We lost our son and your mother much too early in life, but you're still here with us. And it was because of you that we found a new sense of fulfillment and purpose.
Because of me?
One of these days, I'll go off and join your grandma. When that day comes, you'll be without a family. Build your own. And once you have them by your side, no matter what comes your way, you have to keep them safe, you understand? Do that, my boy, and I can guarantee when the end finally arrives, you will consider your life to have been well spent. I'm getting on in years. This may be the final wisdom I leave you.
When he said those words, I thought they sounded like a dying wish. Time has passed since then, and Grandpa has joined Grandma. But I'm still here, all alone.
Whatever shall we do?
Your Majesty, I don't know what we can do.
Surely something has to be done?
My king, at this point I believe our only option is to summon a hero.
You understand the procedure, correct?
Yes.
All right, then we will now proceed with the hero rite of summoning!
What the... Huh?
Am I the only one surprised the summoning actually worked?
I guess everything is worth trying at least once.
Wait... summoning?
Ah, hero, welcome. Thank you for answering our call in these desperate times.
I didn't answer anything. I was summoned to this place against my will.
Yes, I suppose so. I can see why from your standpoint it would seem that way. By chance, you aren't upset we forced you here against your will?
Oh, I don't know. Wouldn't you be? At the very least, could you explain the situation? Then I'll decide if I should be mad.
An explanation, that would be helpful. The predicament is as follows.
This is the supercontinent of Landia. Several races, including humans, elves, dwarves, and dragonutes, have made this land their home, forming a number of countries of various sizes. However, roughly 10 years ago, on the northernmost end of the continent, a void to the demon world dimension appeared, and a horde of monsters poured out. With their appearance, all hell broke loose across the northern countries. Under the banner of the Grand Chaos Empire, which boasted the largest territory on the continent, all the nations united to form a punitive force and mounted an invasion against the demon world. Unfortunately, those forces were obliterated. After the battle, the nations lost their main military assets. They no longer had the strength to repel the monsters from the demon world. The enemy continued laying waste, and now occupy a third of the continent. Presently, this territory is known as the Demon Lord's Domain. As their monster forces increase and the battle lines continue to rapidly expand, the outlook is grim. The nations of mankind can barely keep them in check, much less drive them back. To this day, a deadlock remains firmly in place.
Uh-huh. I hope I'm not supposed to fight these monsters on my own.
Well, perhaps Marx could explain it better.
Huh? The issue is, a hero is truly a rare commodity to come by.
Huh?
As of this moment, the Demon Lord's domain remains mostly quiet. However, our forces are stationed at his border and have been informed to remain ever vigilant. The soldiers' morale is high since they've been charged with protecting the world of men. But the longer the troops remain there, the more money's required. It's becoming problematic. Also, there is the other matter.
Other matter?
The Alfredan Kingdom. They've been asked to contribute to the war effort. The deadline is approaching, but they have yet to respond.
You're going to turn me over to the Empire in the place of financial aid?
I'm terribly sorry about this, and hope you can forgive us.
You see, while the Demon Lord's domain doesn't border our own kingdom, it abuts the Grand Chaos Empire, which happens to be the largest country in all Landia. Because of their brave efforts, we see many benefits and few monster attacks. But it costs. The Empire requires financial assistance from countries that do not share the border with the Demon Lord's domain.
So the issue ultimately comes down to money. If the Empire's willing to fight them, you have to pay them.
We'd love to. The only problem is we can't.
Right. Our country has been experiencing a continuous shortage of food. The expansion of the Demon Lord's domain has sent us refugees who were chased from their homes, and the cost of feeding them is astronomical. As things currently stand, we are in no position to supply any financial assistance. However, within the Empire's request for aid, there is a clause that states that if we cannot contribute financially, we may perform the hero rite of summoning. The sacred ritual of bringing forth a hero has been handed down in our kingdom for generations. We can send you instead of funds. That's tradition. It's with the utmost reluctance we...
You'd be more than willing to sell off your own daughters if it meant paying your debts, right? So, after handing the Empire a hero, what will happen to me after?
Well, we're a little murky on the subject.
All right. Then what makes a hero in the first place?
Legend says that a hero is the one who will lead the revolution into a new age.
The what? No disrespect, but that's more than a little vague.
The thing is, information is scarce, so the who and what of a hero are shrouded in mystery.
Seems like the Empire has an interest in them, though. I hope they don't want you to hand me over for dissection. Or anything else equally as macabre. Not reassuring.
There isn't a chance in a million that they would do such a thing.
Yes, 1,000,000. Well, 1,000. I'd put the odds at about 100.
Why's the possibility keep going up? Seems as though I'm stuck here for the moment. My original life plan was to become a civil servant, but now here I am, at risk of being dissected in some fantasy adventure. I could run, but without any knowledge of the castle, that's easier said than done. Plus, if I screw up and get captured, this whole situation will only get worse. Which basically means the next thing I say pretty much determines my fate. If I may, permit me to ask one more thing.
I suppose so.
Are requests made by the Empire limited to this one, or are you expecting some more?
Well, of course they would need it.
Actually, the way I see matters, there's no end to these requests in sight, as long as the monsters persist in their attacks.
I'm sure you're right about that. So, I have another question. Going back to the rite of hero summoning, as long as you perform the full ritual, would you be able to summon however many people that you would need?
Oh, so you see, that's complicated.
According to our records, we did summon a hero prior to you, nearly 500 years ago. That took place only the once and at our nation's founding. There were, of course, several failed attempts over the years.
Assuming that's true, this is significant. I'm pretty much the one card this country has to play. Does that sound about right?
Yes, I would say so.
In that case, doesn't giving me up to the Empire right now seem a little vacuous?
Come again?
As you know, dear, vacuous means something that's done without any thought.
Ah, yes, that vacuous, of course.
I think it might be working. And if we are truly thinking ahead, we should review the country's finances, and then adopt new policies. Ones that will help to increase the Elfrieden Kingdom's national strength, so we can reject Imperial demands.
Enough influence and power that we could say no to even the Grand Chaos Empire?
Us? But how? Accomplishing such a feat would require...
A hero? Am I not supposed to lead the revolution into a new age? And this act is merely the beginning. We might be able to bring real change to this country. Change the country. That was the idea. Only problem was I didn't have a plan. Still, all I need to do is find a way of coming up with the aid money. To start off, tell me about all the country's finances. I want to hear everything that's in place. I need to take a close look at the budget reports. Data on agriculture, forestry, fisheries, the economy, infrastructure, and transport.
Prime Minister, if you would please be so kind.
At once.
And so, a wide range of topics were discussed. The conference between the Elfrieden King, Albert, Prime Minister Marx, and the hero Soma went on longer than expected, lasting for 3 days and nights.
Hark and listen! I request your undivided attention. I, Albert Elfrieden, the 13th king of the Elfrieden nation, being of sound mind and body, hereby abdicate the throne and transfer all of its powers over to our summoned hero, Soma Kazuya.
What? Huh?
Further, I am pleased to announce the engagement of my daughter, Princess Lycia Elfrieden, to heroic newly appointed King Soma.
April 1546 by the continental calendar. The King of Elfrieden hands the throne over to Soma Kazuya. This news quickly spreads, reaching the three dukedoms, a trio of rulers who head the kingdom's armed forces, creating a significant stir among them.
What? Albert abdicated the throne?
Yes, sir. And there is more. He has ceded the throne to Soma, the hero they summoned.
That's certainly a bold move, and coming from King Albert of all people.
When this news reaches her, I bet Princess Lycia will be beside herself.
Father, Mother, hold on! I'll rescue you!
Right there, that's the spot.
Father! Mother? You're fine. It's absurd! I heard that the throne had been usurped and came running to save you, only to find you two casually carrying on like that.
As you can see, the throne hasn't exactly been usurped. I abdicated it in favor of Soma of my own free will.
But why go and make such a rash decision?
It was hardly rash. Though I've spent a short amount of time with him, I'm convinced he will make a better king than I ever could. It was a decision made responsibly by the individual in charge of this country. And I won't have any arguments.
But Father, how could you declare my engagement without even asking me?
Concerning that matter, it is ultimately a discussion for the two of you. While there is no denying the marriage arrangement was my idea originally, if you don't want to go through with it, I highly doubt that Soma will insist.
Mother, is he being serious?
My dear, you should go and meet Soma first. Then decide whether or not he's for you. We can't just force you to love someone.
They can't expect me to discuss the matter civilly with him. Obviously, the Soma guy is up to no good. I'm coming in.
Hey, whoever you are, give me a hand.
Pardon?
Hold up. You are able to read, right?
Please, I'm not some idiot. I've had an extensive education.
Then what's 3 + 2?
5.
And 6 × 2?
12, obviously.
42 divided by 7?
7 or, I mean 6. I got confused.
Good enough. Get over here and help me with the budget.
What help you? Just who do you think me to be anyway?
Reserves to help me with these finances?
I am Licia Elfrieden, the king's... former King Albert Elfrieden's daughter, and you will show me respect.
Seriously? You're a princess?
Isn't it obvious?
Well, not really. That looks like a military uniform.
Because it is a military uniform. I'm stationed with the army under the command of Duke Carmine. I was out there performing my patrol duties, then rushed home when I heard the news.
Now that you mention it. Yeah, I should have known. There is something princessy about you.
Huh?
Oh, right. Name's Soma. And for better or worse, I'm the new ruler here.
And I used to be this kingdom's princess. Before you came along, that is, and stole the throne away. I'm not quite sure what I am now.
Excuse me, stole? If you'd been here, you'd know the king was more than happy to push the crown on me.
Perhaps you can explain that. I realize you're the hero they summoned to trade to the Empire, but you just arrived and suddenly my father makes you our sovereign?
I'm just as confused as you. I was just looking out for my own safety and suddenly I'm running things.
Oh?
I do wonder whether the two of them will find common ground.
They'll be fine, dear. Trust me.
When I brought up fiscal reforms, I knew I might be put in charge of the kingdom's financial management or something like that. But I never expected to be made its king.
So listen, I'm sorry for how I acted.
You have nothing to apologize for. Hey, you're the victim here. No one asked whether you wanted to get engaged.
Yeah, concerning that,
Don't worry about the whole betrothal thing. I'm only keeping the throne warm for a little while. After a few years, I'll probably retire from this king gig.
Really?
All I want to do was fill up your coffers. It was the only way I saw to keep myself from being handed over to the Empire. Then again, now that I've been given the throne, you know, can't waste it. Least I can do is get this country's finances back on track. But after it's on the right track, I'll let this country handle the rest. Of course, you can cancel our engagement.
Such arrogance. You say you're going to quit being the king after only a few years. Can you really do anything for the kingdom in that short amount of time? And before you answer, let's start with all the aid to the Empire.
Oh, that. I've already secured the necessary funds.
It looks like they found someone to act as custodian. We should be getting the Elfrieden exports soon.
There is a great demand among the wealthy when it comes to jewelry sourced from royal families. Investing funds in order to snatch up the standout pieces was the right call, Princess Roroa.
And as a result, we did a fair bit of business.
I must confess, this new king of theirs is certainly making some bold new policy.
Elfrieden can't afford to hold on to jewels while its citizens starve. They need to jumpstart their economy. At first, I wasn't sure why they made that hero their king. But based on what I've seen so far, he could be a formidable opponent.
Yes.
Ah! You sold off our national treasures? The national treasures belong to the whole country. You can't just give them away.
Come on, would you take it easy? If they belong to the whole country, then it's fair to sell them for the sake of the nation's subjects, right?
Yeah, all right, but there were numerous cultural and historical pieces.
True, which is why I made sure not to sell those. In Group A, I placed national treasures that have historic or cultural value. Those with neither went into Group B. The remainder were put into Group C. Only B was sold. When it comes to A's fundraising potential, they have more long-term value put on display in a museum. It wouldn't make much sense to sell them off.
It was smart of you to categorize them, but what about Group C?
Magical tools, which frankly I'm not sure how to handle. I would label those more as weapons. We can't put them on display, or risk the wrong person buying them. Speaking of, there is a full set of antique hero gear. If we find the right buyer, it should fetch a ton of cash. Sound good?
You wouldn't dare. Just what kind of hero are you?
Despite his sudden ascension to the throne, the country appears quite tranquil on the surface. The question is, how long will that last? Anyhow, Canadia. See this new hero turned king with your own eyes. Determine how capable he is.
Putting a price on all of our national treasures. Not what I expected from a hero.
If I hadn't, they would have handed me over to the Empire.
That is true, but still. Tell me, have you already sent the aid money to the Empire?
No, not yet. I told them to hold off on paying until the last possible day.
Then how about instead of giving it to the Empire, you redirect the funds to the military? After all, your ultimate goal is to get our kingdom enough power to resist them, is it not? At the military academy, they taught us to spend heavily on defense and nothing when it came to tribute.
So rather than offering payment for momentary peace, in the long run, the wiser choice would be to invest in building our military?
Allow me to chain your adage and immediately activate my own. Time equals money. The financial assistance takes on this card's effect, and by sacrificing it, we gain time, which is what our country needs most in this situation.
What are you doing with your voice?
Never mind that. Here's my point. Say we build up our military. If we neglect our domestic problems, it means nothing. Until we resolve our food shortage and refugee crisis, we'll continue losing the people's support. It wouldn't take much work for an outside force to instigate an uprising. The country would be in a vulnerable state.
A revolt? Not the people of Elfrieden. They love their country. They wouldn't dare.
That's idealistic thinking. The fact is, when people go hungry, morals and patriotism vanish. You can't show concern for others if you have no breathing room yourself. Agreed?
It's true what they say. You really are a huge realist.
Know what? Perhaps I am.